Now, for many of you listening, especially if you explore things like the law of attraction or, the impact of mindset, you're probably familiar with the power of intention. Today, we're taking that maybe a significant step further. What if your next big leap isn't about more willpower, but about fundamentally shifting into the person who already has all the answers you're looking for? What if reality isn't something you have to force, but something you can actually collapse from an infinite field of possibility? And what if a surprising, quite modern tool could help you do exactly that? So today we're diving deep into a fascinating four-step roadmap. And this isn't about your usual to-do list, not at all. It's about leveraging the power of your own consciousness and, yes, a cutting-edge AI tool to really embody the, let's say, millionaire version of yourself, or frankly, any desired future self, and then effortlessly draw that ideal future right into your present reality. Our mission today is to unpack this blueprint, this whole idea, and hopefully equip you with a new way to approach your biggest goals. Okay, so let's unpack this blueprint then. At its foundation, this entire approach, it really hinges on what the source material calls a core quantum principle. It's kind of encapsulated in this profound idea. Your action is always a result of your identity. You don't do to become, you become to do. Just think about that for a second. Most people are out there busy trying a million different actions, right? 100 strategies, hustling endlessly. But their internal identity, who they believe they are, remains stuck in struggle or self-doubt or feeling inadequate. So they're effectively trying to out-hustle a self-concept that's actually holding them back.
hmm And what's truly fascinating here, and what the source is really drawing on, is how deeply our internal narrative shapes our external experience, often completely unconsciously. Our brains, well, they're incredibly efficient at seeking coherence. They work overtime, basically, to make sure our external reality consistently matches our internal self-concept. So if you, for example, identify deep down as a struggling entrepreneur, your brain will subconsciously scan for evidence of that struggle. It'll interpret events as struggle. And this creates resistance. It makes every new idea feel like an uphill battle. Every opportunity seems shrouded in doubt. It's often not about a lack of effort at all. It's about an internal script dictating your external reality, sometimes without you even realizing it's happening.
Okay, so when the source talks about a quantum principle and this idea of collapsing reality from an infinite field of possibility, I mean, that sounds quite abstract, doesn't it? For our listeners who might be thinking, physics labs and particles, how should we really understand this concept in the practical context of personal identity and action? Is it like a direct scientific thing, or is it more of a powerful metaphor for how our consciousness works?
That's a really crucial distinction. Yeah, and a very insightful question. When the source mentions a quantum principle here, it's primarily drawing on powerful analogies from quantum mechanics. It's not literal physics in that sense. Think about the idea that observation influences outcome, right? Or that there's this field of possibility until a choice is made or an observation occurs. It's not suggesting you're literally, splitting atoms or bending space-time with your thoughts. Not at all. Rather, it uses that framework to illustrate how our internal state, our conscious focus, acts as the observer in our own lives. By embodying a new identity, you're essentially influencing which possibilities from that vast energetic field of potential you filter for, pay attention to, and ultimately manifest in your personal experience. You're kind of narrowing down the infinite by focusing your intention. You're effectively bringing that specific reality into sharper focus for yourself.
Ah, okay. That makes perfect sense. So it's less about literal science, more about a really useful mental and energetic model for how our focus and identity shape the reality we perceive. Right. And this brings us right back to that feeling of being stuck we talked about at the start. This is where this idea, the dormant buyer tactic, comes in. That uncomfortable feeling of being stuck. It isn't a flaw in you. It's actually described as a dormant psychological tension. It's that hidden frustration, that internal dissonance,
Yeah.
that feeling you're not as far along as you want to be, that something isn't quite right.
Absolutely. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it really suggests that internal discomfort can be a powerful catalyst for growth. Not something to be avoided or pushed down. The old way, the old paradigm tells us to just try harder, right? Push through that feeling when we're stuck. But this new, more aligned way suggests this tension is actually a signal. It's an invitation, really. An invitation to shift your identity and receive a whole new roadmap. It's not a roadblock. It's genuinely an opportunity. Your soul, maybe your higher self, whatever you want to call it, is asking you to get into alignment with your future self, to step into a new, more expansive version of who you are.
That is a really profound reframe. Wow. So instead of seeing that frustration as just negative, it's actually a guidepost. But okay, for someone who spent years maybe trying to suppress that feeling or just ignore it, what's the first tangible shift they can make? How do they start reframing it as an invitation, not just more pressure?
Well, it really starts with acknowledging it, but without judgment.
Yeah.
That's key.
Yeah.
Think of it like a car's dashboard warning light.
Right.
When your check engine light comes on, you don't just floor the accelerator harder and hope it goes away.
Right. You'd pull over.
Exactly. You pause, you listen to the signal, you recognize it's giving you crucial information about your current operating system.
Yeah.
That psychological tension, that frustration, that's your internal check engine light.
Right.
So the first shift is simply to say, okay, I'm feeling this tension. What is it trying to tell me? What part of my current identity is out of alignment with where I genuinely want to be?
Mm.
It's a shift from resistance, really, to inquiry.
I love that car analogy. That makes it so practical. Yeah. So once we've acknowledged that signal, started that internal inquiry, that's where the rubber meets the road, as they say. And here's where it gets really interesting. Let's look at the practical side now, this 4-step roadmap to activate your, say, millionaire identity and take perfectly aligned action. Okay, step 1, ask the quantum question. This is what the source calls the secret question.
Oh.
And it's very clear. You don't ask, what should I do? Instead, you ask, who do I need to become? You mentioned earlier, this isn't just semantics. Can you maybe elaborate on that distinction for us? Why is that shift in wording so, well, profoundly different in its impact?
It's a deep shift, yeah. A fundamental shift from an external focus looking outside to an internal one. And when you ask, what should I do? You're often operating from your current identity, the one that's likely experiencing the struggle or the confusion, right? That question kind of keeps you in a state of seeking external answers, which might just lead to more misaligned actions based on that old self-concept. But asking, who do I need to become? It completely bypasses that. It forces you to mentally step into the shoes of that desired future self. It activates a different part of your brain, allows answers, ideas, strategies to emerge from that expanded, higher perspective. It literally changes the source of the inspiration for your action. It's like switching from, I don't know, a narrow flashlight beam to a huge floodlight.
Wow, okay, that makes so much sense. It's about embodying the solution, not just hunting for it externally. The source material shares this really powerful anecdote about this exact thing. The speaker themselves, feeling lost, unsure, went into meditation and asked this precise question: who do I need to become in order to be a millionaire? And the answers apparently didn't come like a spreadsheet or a to-do list. Not at all. They came through what they describe as higher wisdom, a series of visions, and an intuitive flash of insight. And this internal shift, this becoming, led to a very specific, aligned action. It was a creative project, apparently a video asset titled Becoming a Millionaire, which interestingly even used an AI voiceover and was then just published on YouTube. So the action itself, making one video, seems simple, right? But it wasn't just some random task pulled out of thin air. It was born from a profound identity shift. It wasn't about doing more stuff. It was about being more.
That anecdote perfectly illustrates the power of this type of inquiry. It really does. So many people think action has to mean hustle, grind, complex strategies, hours and hours of work.
Yeah, the usual stuff.
Right. But by reframing the question from what to do to who to become, you're tapping into a much deeper level of self-awareness, of intentionality. The resulting actions, even if they seem simple like making a video, carry a much greater energetic charge. They're inherently more aligned with your desired outcome. They just flow naturally from that new identity rather than being forced by the old struggling one.
That connection between the internal shift and the external, almost effortless action, it's incredibly powerful. So, okay, once we have that intuitive vision, that sense of our future self, how do we translate that into something tangible, an actionable plan? And where does AI fit into this picture? This brings us right to step 2. Use AI to create the blueprint. This is where a tool like, say, ChatGPT can really become what the source calls your manifestation co-pilot. And the source gives an incredibly precise and honestly quite powerful prompt to use. Here it is, the exact prompt. Act as my future self, a millionaire spiritual entrepreneur, based on my current identity and goals. What is the exact 4-step roadmap I would have taken to get here? Be specific and include the mindset shifts required at each step. Now, I can imagine some listeners hearing AI Manifestation Copilot and feeling a bit skeptical, maybe worried about outsourcing your intuition or becoming too reliant on tech. How do we make sure we're using AI here as a tool for clarity, for structure, and not just letting it dictate our entire path?
That's an essential point to clarify. Yeah, I appreciate you raising it. It's crucial we don't see AI as a replacement for our intuition or our own internal wisdom. That's not the goal. Its purpose here isn't to tell you what to think or what to feel, not at all. It's more about articulating the logical, practical steps that your higher future self would have taken. Think of it like a sophisticated external processor. It helps bridge the gap between your spiritual vision, that intuitive flash you got in step one, and your physical reality by giving it a structured, actionable form. The AI acts as a sophisticated tool, really, helping us externalize and structure what might otherwise just remain an abstract internal vision. It gives it form, a clear potential path forward. So yeah, it's all about clarity, not dictation.
Okay, so it's like having a highly intelligent assistant help us organize and verbalize the wisdom that's kind of already in us, but maybe hard to pin down. What kind of steps might an AI suggest that would be aligned with this specific millionaire spiritual entrepreneur identity compared to, say, just a traditional business plan? What's the difference?
Exactly. An AI operating from that specific future self perspective. It wouldn't just spit out generic marketing tactics. It might suggest things like, step one, deepen your understanding of abundance mindset through a daily gratitude practice, real specific mindset stuff. Or maybe step two, consolidate your core message to attract high vibrational clients, then create a single high impact offer. See how specific that is.
Yeah, much more targeted.
Right. It would integrate the necessary mindset shifts directly into the action steps. It reminds you the internal state required to execute those actions successfully. And that's a key differentiator, I think, from just a standard strategic plan, which often ignores the being part.
That's a really powerful distinction. Okay, now once you have that AI-generated roadmap, you move to step 3. Test for alignment. This is described as the critical step because you absolutely need to review the AI suggestions and check for resonance in your body, that feeling. The specific self-check is, read each step the AI provides and ask yourself honestly, does this feel expansive or constricting? Does it truly feel like something your future self would genuinely do? Or is it secretly triggering your old, hustling, struggling identity, maybe bringing up feelings of dread or overwhelm?
This step encourages critical thinking, and deep self-awareness. It ensures that the technology serves our highest alignment, rather than dictating it. Your intuition, that inner wisdom, that's the ultimate guide here. It has the final say. It validates the AI's output. If a step feels off, if it creates that constricting feeling, that in your gut, then the guidance is clear. Adjust it. Or maybe release it entirely. It's about trusting your own internal compass above all else. For instance, the AI might suggest some massive product launch. But your body, your intuition, might be screaming that actually a smaller, more intimate offering is what your true future self would lead with right now. You have to listen to that internal signal.
Oh, I think many of us can identify with that feeling. It's so easy sometimes to dismiss it as just fear, right?
Yeah.
But it could actually be misalignment. So how do we tell the difference? How do we distinguish between true intuition saying, nope, this isn't it, and just plain old fear trying to keep us safe in our comfort zone?
That's a fantastic question. Really fantastic. And it's where self-awareness truly comes into play. It takes practice. Fear often feels sharp, maybe urgent. It often comes with a narrative of, you're not good enough, or it's too hard, what if you fail? It's usually focused on avoiding pain or potential failure.
Right, the what ifs.
Exactly. Intuition, on the other hand, it often feels quieter, more like a gentle knowing, perhaps a subtle pull towards something or a push away. When something feels constricting in this context of misalignment, it often carries a sense of heaviness, maybe dread, like you're trying to force something that just doesn't fit your energetic blueprint. If it's fear, the discomfort might actually be paired with some underlying excitement about the potential outcome, but you're just nervous about the effort or the risk. If it's misalignment, the entire concept might just feel heavy and wrong, regardless of the potential reward. It just feels off. Sometimes journaling about it or talking it through with a trusted friend or mentor can really help tease out the difference.
That's incredibly helpful, discerning the quality of that internal feedback. Okay, and finally, we arrive at step 4. Take the first aligned action. This is highlighted as the most important step of all. And the instruction is refreshingly simple. Don't overthink it. Focus on taking just the first small step on that AI-generated roadmap, but only after you validated it with your intuition in step 3. The power here, apparently, is immense. This single action, even a tiny one, is described as a powerful declaration to the universe that you are in alignment. It sends a new signal, effectively collapsing a new, more expansive reality into your experience. It really is about taking one perfectly aligned step rather than, 100 misaligned ones. I've definitely been guilty of analysis paralysis myself, waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan. But it sounds like this method says, nope, just take that one aligned step. For me, a tiny aligned step once was simply sending an introductory email to someone I really admired, purely from a place of genuine connection, not expecting anything back. And that one tiny email, It opened up this cascade of unexpected opportunities, felt so easy, so light.
Your example perfectly illustrates the point. It really does. Even a seemingly small, aligned action can create significant ripple effects. It's powerful. It shifts your internal state first, providing immediate validation of your new identity. And consequently, it starts shifting your external reality far more powerfully than just constant misdirected effort ever could. This initial action is a commitment. It's a physical manifestation of your internal identity shift. And that then creates this positive feedback loop, reinforcing your new self-concept. It builds momentum, but not through brute force. It builds through coherence and flow. It's the difference between, say, trying to paddle upstream against a really strong current and just relaxing and letting yourself be carried by the flow downstream.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? It means understanding that, as the source puts it, the universe is a feedback loop. Your external world is a reflection of your internal state. This isn't just some floaty spiritual philosophy. It's presented as a practical and powerful framework for consciously creating your reality, shifting from struggle to flow.
Exactly. And in this context, AI isn't magic. It's certainly not a shortcut to avoid doing the necessary inner work. Let's be clear on that. It is simply a sophisticated tool. A tool to help you articulate and structure your internal world so you can make that conscious, intentional shift. It's a modern tool for conscious creation, really. A way to bridge the abstract and the actionable. It allows you to move forward with much greater clarity and alignment. It helps give form to the formless, you could say.
Ultimately, this whole approach isn't really about finding the perfect external path that's somehow already laid out for you. It's about becoming the person who already walks on it. When you make that inner identity shift, when you truly embody that future self, the actions you take and the results you experience, they just naturally follow. It's a complete reversal, really, of how most people approach goal setting and achievement. It prioritizes being over doing. So we've explored today how shifting your identity first and then maybe leveraging AI smartly can unlock a completely new roadmap for your goals. It's a fascinating blend, isn't it? Intuition and technology working together, all designed to get you out of that stuck feeling and into more effortless, aligned action. And for your final provocative thought as you continue your journey today, maybe consider this. What dormant psychological tension might you be experiencing right now in your own life? That feeling of friction or misalignment? And what surprising, more expansive future self could that tension actually be trying to invite you to become? How might your current discomfort be the very signal you need to take your next quantum leap? Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today.